I'm Chosen Architect, and this is All the Mods 9, and today we gather everything from the Dragon's Tooth to a, well, Twilight Portal that's miniature. And today is going to be a lot of chaos, so I hope you guys are ready. Now, I'm going to warn you right off the bat, today's episode is going to be a little bit all over the place because we are going to be working towards cleaning up some of the odd and end items that we need to make the star. Now, it's not over yet. We are still far from over, but I do want to kind of play catch up and sort of get all of the remaining items needed and that are kind of obscure. Now, when I say obscure, I'm talking things like, for example, this, an Ender Dragon's Tooth. Yeah, things like this that are really obscure, and like the Silent Gears Terrarian Steel, and like some other random ins and odds, like the Decorum blocks and also the Dark Rune blocks and things like that. Like those little things that really don't have like major mechanics attached to them. Well, actually, the dragon one does have things attached to it. I should rephrase that. That being, the Dragon Tooth is actually one of the first things that I want to get started with today. So how exactly do we get a Dragon's Tooth? It doesn't really mention it too much in here, and what is the Dragon Tooth even used for? Well, the Dragon Tooth is used to make eggs. And in the quest here, it shows that this is connected into the Master of Dragons. And this is what, the non-hatchable dragon egg is what the tooth is actually used to make. So we're gonna need at least 18 of these, meaning we're gonna need at least 18 dragon teeth. But even then, it doesn't really tell us how to get those dragon teeth. It's left me kind of looking for things. And so looking I did, and I found that on the actual Ender's Delight mod, which is what it's from, I found that you can actually get those as drops from using the knife on the dragon. So we have to kill the dragon with a knife from, yeah, the Farmer's Delight mod. Now, just a measly old regular knife is not going to cut it. Even if we were to make it diamond, it's just not going to cut it. But we can make an Aldemodium version of this that does 12 damage, which is a lot better. And we could potentially chop the dragon down a little bit more. And I don't know if we only get one tooth per dragon kill. I'm hoping that we can enchant this with some fortune and hopefully get more potentially. So after just applying a couple of enchants, hopefully this will work. I put backstabbing on here. I don't know if it's going to be that great, but we do have looting 5 as well. And I'm hoping this knife is really going to cut it. By the way, with the sharpness on here, oh my goodness, it does 18 attack damage. All right, so here we go. Time to resummon the dragon. And hopefully with that looting, we'll determine whether or not we have to do this 18 times. Oh boy. So after destroying all of the pillars, with this, I don't know if, do I have to wait or can I potentially fly up to the dragon and try to take it out? Oh, there it is. Okay, he's dropping down. Okay, this knife actually does quite a bit of damage. But notice the dragon. Okay, we're backstabbing the dragon. The dragon is a little weird. It does push you around quite a bit. So just trying to use this knife on it like this is kind of difficult. All right, so it's dropping down again, which is good news because that should be it. Okay, so let's make sure we're picking everything up. Oh, and we get 3 teeth from using that sword. Okay, so that's actually nice. So we get all of these other Indolite things, but it's good to know that I can at least get the 3 that we got because that means I don't have to kill the dragon 18 times. Oh, goodness. Instead, I'll have to do it more like 6 to 8 times. It all depends on the drop rate every time. And is there a good way to automate this process? You know what? I'm going to say not really. Not really worth it for at least like 18 items. Yeah, I mean, you would need a way to destroy all of the crystals, which that in itself probably wouldn't be the hardest thing to do, considering you can make TNT droppers and all kinds of interesting things like that. But it's the automation of actually hurting the dragon. That one's a little bit harder. Let's just say dragons are a little fussy when it comes to the types of items that are near them. They just want to break them. Now, making this go a little bit faster, I'm just going to simply use this after charging myself. I'm going to use my Firebolt spell, and that should get the dragon down to pretty low health quite quickly, actually. Just got to try and hit it. And then, yeah, then we can just simply use that. Try to not overdo it as well. There we go. That's close enough. And the dragon's already landing again, and this one's a pretty quick kill. just like that. And yeah, we got 2 on that round, so it's not a guarantee. So I think this is the last dragon that I need to take out, and I'm just completely at this point bypassing the crystals. Yeah, I can get it down quite quickly and just completely bypass the crystals, and there's 19 of them. Yeah, so I had to kill 7 of them, actually, in order to get enough of the teeth, and I would say that's pretty decent. Now, another thing that I needed a lot of were these dragon scales, but each time you kill the dragon, you actually get some of these dragon scales. So I had enough, and as you can see right here, we now have all of these pieces, and I just need to simply make the things that they're used for. Now we get to kind of move on to the next part that is kind of on an end, and that's going to be these dark runes. And dark runes, believe it or not, are kind of expensive to make, simply because runes are pretty rare. But we can actually make a rune bee, and I think that's all we really need to worry about, because we should be able, or we're going to make both the Arcanus and the rune bee, but to be able to make the Corrupti dust, all we need is arcane dust, and this is honestly so easy to kind of get set up. And the bees are just as easy as well. So let me show you what I mean by easy. So in here, I do have my diamond bees, and these are used for a ton of things. So let's get the bee cages and get a few of those auto-crafted. Let's see, do I not have cages? There we go. Yeah, let's get some cages crafted. So we'll have some bees. But I'm gonna go into my bee converting room, and I'm gonna place 2 diamond bees. And these are so easy to do because we just simply need to click the block on them. That converts it into an Arcanus bee, and then this converts it into the rune bee. And there we go. Now we have both bees, and we can just put them into one of our current hives that we have set up. So yeah, let's put the rune bee and the Arcanus bee in here. And then I'm just going to put both of my rune blocks that are required for these bees. And this should just start producing combs. Oh, also, thank you guys for mentioning this, because I did see this and I have changed my other ones. But this max upgrade actually acts as a simulator upgrade. So in reality, we could have this whole thing filled with production Omega upgrades, which is just ridiculous, honestly. So just to put this in perspective, one of these rune cones is a guaranteed 4 runes. It's a lot. Every time I look in the storage, I just keep seeing this just skyrocket. Oh man, I wish these were just like I wish they were a better looking building material. Like they look fine, but when they're stacked next to each other, that's when they kind of clash. Like when there's more than one of them. Yeah, they just, they super clash with each other. So after a few regular autocrafts, I think we have everything now needed to make the dark rune and to also end up making the Dioram block. So both of those things, let's see, forbidden, let's go ahead and get those crafted up. So we're going to need 18, I believe, of each of these. So there's 18 of those that are going to be nearly instant crafted, and then 18 of those. Perfect. And so, yeah, as you can see, we are building up of those materials. We already have 18 of the dark runes, and then we're about to have 18 of the Dioram blocks. There we go. So both of these things are now, or I guess I could say, checked off of the list. Oh, and by the way, our Eternal Stellas, because of our bee, yeah, we have 584 of them. There's too many. All right. Now for something that's going to take a little bit more time, and that is the nitro batteries. We're going to need 36 nitro batteries, but not just normal nitro batteries. No, these need to be fully charged in order to be used. You see right here, these have the maximum power stored in them, and we're going to need 32 of them because we're going to need 18 improbability devices. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but this is actually not too bad. We do need to autocraft also the player transmitters that are nitro, and the reason why this would be a little bit harder to autocraft, and I don't think any of these things are necessary to be autocrafted, well, autocrafted as in they need to be constantly being produced, is because when you go down all the way to the first one that you make, it requires the player aerial pearl. And if you remember, you have to capture a zombie inside of this thing. And so we're going to have to find ourselves a few zombies. Well, or we can find a spawner. Yeah, and I think the pyramid is the best place to pick these little guys up at. There's just so many mobs here. Now, this is just crazy to watch because to make 18 of these batteries, for example, it happens almost instantaneously. So if you watch the crafts actually happen, we can see how quickly these things autocraft. Now, these batteries are going to start trying to charge in my inventory. But I don't really want to do it that way. I'm going to show you a different way. And if I go over here and I actually go into my mechanism setup, I should be able to charge these a little bit differently. So by popping into this and opening this up, I should be able to place these in here, and then that can charge these. So I don't know if there's actually a way to automatically insert and export out of here when they're done, but this is a pretty decent way of doing this. Now, my charger that is on my person will charge this incredibly fast. But I'm afraid that I'm not limiting that setup properly. So let's actually take a look at that, and we could probably do both. Let's go ahead and run back to the base. And I just need to make sure that on my controller that I have it set to a limit, and it's set to a limit of 8. Let's actually set this to 2 million. Okay, so now that it's set to 2 million, I know that it's capped out and we should be good. And if I go to use this, we should see that it is transferring and it's sending 2 million RF every tick to this, and should be storing these. And yeah, it's going to take a bit of time, but, it's something we got to do. We got to get them all charged up. It's a pretty slow process. And you know, I bet with enough infrastructure, this would actually be pretty quick. I'm giving this like 6 million now, and I could probably give it even more. But yeah, I have all of them charging in my hotbar, and it seems like we're doing pretty good on power. If I go back to the mechanism area, I can check this one. This one's probably filled up. And we can actually see our power is not really going down or anything like that. That one is completely filled. I can start to put this one in there. And then these are still all charging right here. And we're still sending, like we're still receiving enough power to make this not drain. Oh yeah, and I just realized there's actually no real way to speed these up. I was thinking I can make them go even faster by just giving more power. They are limited. You can only send a maximum in them anyways of only 2 million. They have a max transfer limit. So you no matter how quickly you would want to charge this, you're always going to be limited by that 2 million. Now, while these are doing their thing and charging, we can actually tap into even more items. And these right here are going to be some items that we can go ahead and get auto crafting and get the recipes made for and get them started. So the rainbow furnace, I've already got basically everything automated here already. And we're going to need this for rainbow plating, and we are going to need 18 rainbow furnaces, being that the hardest part is just getting all of the dyes auto crafted and getting all of the random glass auto crafted. Outside of that, these are quite simple. The item exchangers, on the other hand, these look like they're going to cost a lot of items, but I also feel like they're not going to be that bad to do. But every single tier does require like a step that requires you to have dyes and ender pearls and everything like that, which I do have. I have all the essences for. Like, we should be good for the majority of these. Man, I couldn't imagine crafting this stuff by hand. What an absolute rabbit hole this exchanger would be. Oh my gosh, there's like steps upon steps upon steps leading all the way up until that high tier. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be just a lot. Now there is one ingredient that I know I don't have enough of for those exchangers, and if we take a look at the exchangers and we go ahead and let's go ahead and set this to 18 and make 18 in exchangers. Okay, so I'm missing exactly 16 chorus fruit. That's actually not a lot. Now the chorus flowers we can get in a multitude of ways, but one cool way is to simply use an alchemy catalyst. This is going to be pretty neat. I think I should definitely use a silk touch tool to break this grass, since I didn't make this infused grass. But there we go. I just place this underneath here, and we should be ready to convert. All I have to do is throw these in, and that does a conversion for me, and now I have chorus flower. Now I was going to set up a race and see what can craft faster, the rainbow furnace or the exchangers, but I'm pretty sure the rainbow furnace is going to win, simply because, well, there's something wrong with the way the autocraft, it's already finished. There's something wrong with the way that the autocraft works in this particular case. Notice it says the netherite is missing here. But if I go to, for example, craft the diamond ones, it's fine. So I can craft up to diamonds. But if I go to craft emeralds, well, that's when it's like, I don't know what to do. And I thought there was maybe something wrong with my patterns, but it doesn't really seem like it. So yeah, I think we can craft at least 18 of these. So 18 diamond ones I can at least craft pretty quick. And then maybe it will work once these are crafted. Maybe there's like a limit to how many it can actually go up to. So let's try the emerald now. Right? Will it work? It still says they're missing. Isn't that weird? I'm going to try and redo the recipe, including this one now. Yeah, no, just doesn't work. That's weird. So strange. So yeah, I'm going to have to do all of these by hand, I guess, up after this point. So yep, I just simply need to craft the last bits, and that's the end exchanger. So, I mean, if anything you've learned along the way, it's maybe the tips and tricks towards how to craft things faster, maybe. But yeah, these are just all odds and ends that I'm tying up. Now, at least this next one's going to be pretty interesting because it does require a little bit of auto crafting. And that is this block right here from Silent Gear, which is the Tyran Steel. I think it's Tyran Steel. So this stuff can be crafted in a very special machine called a metal compounding machine from Silent Gears. And it does require crushed shulker shells, the Azure, which is, I'm trying my best to pronounce these, which is a craft from the Azure Silver that we find in the end, and then the Crimson Steel, which we find in the Nether. But I do have essence made up for both of these materials, Crimson and also the Azure Silver. So I do have autocraft set up for all of this, and I even have a shulker set up inside of one of my simulation chambers. I believe it's this one right here. So I do have a shulker in there, and it has been running, so we have plenty of shulker shells. We just need to set up the crafting of this item, and this machine is actually very simple. Now, because of how temporary this setup is going to be, I'm just going to place it right here for now, and then I'm going to run myself some cables up to the top, and we're going to use an exporter to send the items into this machine. I think items can go into this machine. Can they not be inserted into the top? Okay. I'm guessing not. It doesn't appear like it wants to let me place them on the top of the machine. So I'm guessing then that if it doesn't go on the top, like you just seen, maybe we can insert it into the side. So let's try that. We'll definitely do that. And the way that I want to sort of configure this is with a regulator card and then my crafting card to make sure these get auto-crafted. And so I do need all of the materials for this. So let's go ahead and pull all the materials into our inventory. Probably need to do a quick auto crafteruno. There we go. And then, perfect. So thank goodness to Refined Storage for allowing that to be a thing where you can just pull the ingredients without searching for everything. Oh, that's such a convenient thing. But I do want one at a time to be in this machine. So we're going to send only one of each of these items out, and that's where that regulator card comes into play. And when it's done, we just simply need to use an importer to pull the ingredients back into the system. So that should work, and hopefully the importer allows it to work, and it does. So you see right here, this is going to produce 4 per, and so this will be done before I know it, because we're going to need 18 blocks of it. So yeah, this process isn't going to take very long. So now that that's out of the way, there's another little thing we can look at, and this is part of the iron spells. Now this one might be a little bit more complicated. We've got most of this stuff automated. Now the production of runes, we have done this through the Dead King, and we have gotten plenty of runes for all of this or anything I'd ever need for irons in the future. But the empty upgrade orb, I'm missing one thing, and that is the arcane salvage. Now this apparently comes from ancient debris, but it's the ancient debris from iron spells, not normal ancient debris. And for this process, I kind of want to use a digital miner. I just want to use something other than a RF Tools builder. And so the digital miner I have complete access to, so might as well put it to some good use. Now I will use some energy upgrades and some speed upgrades to make this insanely fast. But believe it or not, in order to find this debris, it resides below -38 in the overworld. So this is the overworld's variant of the debris. And so we should be able to find that with our digital miner that we just set out. So how are we going to find this? Well, I'm gone ahead and set up my config. I set our radius to the max of 32, which is kind of the downside of using the digital miner. I don't know if there's a way to increase that, but 32 is as far as it will let me go. And then I have my Y level minimum set to 0. My maximum needs to be set to -38 to make this faster, because it won't be any higher than 38. By the way, I just need it to be 38, right? Will it let me set -38? No, it'll let me set, I need the minimum to be -64, and then the maximum to be -38. There we go. So now that is configured properly, and the zombie will not leave me alone. But yes, with all of that set up, we should have just about everything ready to go. Now, the tag filter that I have set here is Forge needs netherite tool. And the reason I have this set is because if we look at this, you can see the top block tag is Forge needs netherite tool. So this is going to farm anything, any block in this area that requires a netherite tool in order to break it. So with that in mind, this should be ready to go. And as soon as I hit start, it will say there are 40 some odd that are needed. And we don't have enough power right now, but I can go ahead and just pop on a point, and then we should be ready to go. So just like that, I already farmed a couple of them, as you just seen. But there we go. So this is a very, very quick way of farming. And you can also see how many of the blocks you're going to be farming in this area. And I did go ahead and put my speed and energy upgrades in there. And this is using, yeah, like 200,000 FE. That's the energy capacity. He's using 8,000 RF per tick to run. So not too bad for how quickly it does things. It's just one of many ways to quarry things out. But with this, 41 should be plenty. Honestly, I only need 18. So I'm just going to toss in the 18 I need. And that is already smelted up, right? These need to be processed. How do they get processed, actually? Oh, they need a blast furnace. And there we go. We have this now processing up pretty quick. And we're going to have that salvage before we know it. And that's really all we need. Everything else is auto-craftable. And after that, 18 of these it is. There we go. Boop. And just a blink of an eye, we now have 18 of the fire upgrade orbs, just like that. Now, all of this prep work definitely wasn't like just spontaneous. This has all been something that I have been planning through my journey through this mod pack. I have always had in my head the idea that I need some sort of item and progression and mod playthrough through all of these items that you see in here to eventually have these items available for the craft. So all of this has led up to this actual moment. And it's not been an accident. It's all for a reason. And that reason is, of course, to be able to make the All the Mods star B, because that is going to be the ultimate B to obtain. Now, another one of those things on the list that I definitely prepped for was to be able to make 18 miniature Twilight portals. And we already have the Awakening set up from the prior episode, so we should be good. And I even made enough Snow Queen trophies because we ended up putting that on a data model. Now, the hardest thing to get is this this Carbonite, or Carbonite, I mean. The Carbonite requires you to have boar essence if you want to make this, or you can technically farm the Urgas, but that's going to be way harder than getting your hands on the boar essence. And the boar essence is found in the wood. If you had watched that prior episode of the Twilight Forest, and we have that boar right here. So a tower boar produces that essence, and we've had that running, so we can easily produce all of the materials that you see here upon request. And we made seeds for all of these different materials. Well, all the materials besides this stuff. So now we can simply toss in all of our ingredients into our awakening area. And this is going to be another check mark off the list, because this is going to make miniature portals to the Twilight. And we're going to need 18 of these as well. The miniature portal is utilized inside of the Philosopher's Fuel. We're very close to having everything produced for this, because they also still need to make the Insanium Coal, which is quite simple, and the Awakened Furnace, which just requires more use of this awakened machine here. Actually, I did kind of gloss over the fact that the Awakened Supremium Furnace does have quite a few steps. While it is just an easy thing to just craft and works the same way as everything else, we do need to make awakened ingots and also awakened geodes. And this requires a Supremium Essence that has been awakened. To do this, we awaken the actual block, and that is done here, but it does require cognizant dust. And to get enough of this essence to make the amount that we're going to need to make 18 of these furnaces means we have to actually get a lot of cognizant dust. And the way we do that is by enchanting a mystical agriculture weapon, such as a sword here, with a very special enchant. And that enchant is called, let's see, it's called Mystical Enlightenment. Yes, this thing right here. And it goes up to, I think, level 5. It may be able to go higher than that. But the higher tier you have, the more I think you get. And then I'm probably going to add, let's see, some sharpness to this. So let's add like max sharpness, and why not even looting, right? Maybe we'll get more if we have looting. Oh, looting can't go on it apparently. Oh yeah, I can. There it is. Okay, so yeah, all of these combined. Let's go ahead and put that on this sword. So now we have some nice sharpness. I think it's sharpness 9. Is that? Yeah, that is 9. Yeah, we should be ready to slay some withers. We're going to have to take on some withers. So if my calculations are correct, I think we're going to need at least 64 cognizant dust to have enough to make all of the awakened materials that we're going to want. All right, so let's see how quickly, with just the plain enchants without even upgrading this thing, how quickly this takes out the wither. Because honestly, it should do a pretty good job. It's like doing almost 30 damage, and should be able to take the wither out pretty quick. So with that enchant, yeah, that's pretty fast. And just from that one, we got 8 cognizant dust. So with me doing the math, oh boy, we're looking at about 8 withers I need to take out. So just in case my math wasn't exactly correct, I did go ahead and farm just a little bit more, but it was dropping exactly 8 every single time with that 5. And this is all we need to do. We need to start making this, and we have everything else ready to go on AutoCraft. I have all the furnaces ready to go. So as soon as we have this essence, then we can actually just make that furnace. And with this, we're getting so close to having like just about everything done. There's still a couple of other mods that require a bit more to get through, but I am absolutely loving how everything's coming together. Oh, and I can't even mention just yet. Oh, the thing I want to build for the actual star crafting. And just like that, we now have the awakened furnaces. So pretty straightforward. The whole process, like I said, pretty straightforward. And we're going to have 18 of those. And boop, there is the last one. 18 awakened furnaces. I tell you what, today has been actually pretty darn refreshing, and I've actually enjoyed today a lot. It feels really good to kind of like skirt around and kind of play with all kinds of different mechanics that we've kind of not done thus far. Now, I still have a couple more things to do. For example, I think we should go ahead and get the drive that we're going to need that is sort of listed down here. One of these 3, which the easiest, of course, is the fluid disk, because it is substantially cheaper to make than any of these other things. But the fluid storage part, I should be able to craft 18 of those and get those started, and we can craft them directly in here. So if I take a look at fluid storage components, we have it right here, I believe. This is the million. Yeah, the 1.84 million fluid part. Just to verify, let's just make sure that is the one we need. Yep, the 1.8 fluid part. Perfect. And yeah, I should be able to request 18 of these. And when we do, we are going to be spending quite a bit of resources, but nothing compared to the other drive. So the other drive, basically these start at 64K whenever you initially start the fluid ones. That's why they're substantially cheaper to make. If I was to, for example, try to craft this, which is the 148 million storage part, that's a different story. If I take a look at that, let's see, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the 148 million storage part. Let's request 18 of those. Yeah, that is substantially more expensive, draining every resource that we currently have, not even able to support it. So, yeah, it's definitely nice that we can use the fluid one. I don't even know why anyone would choose any other option other than the fluid one, because this one is actually achievable. So, 18 of these things. That's a lot. And I'm going to craft them all now. And I'm sure it's going to take quite a while to craft them all, because it's going to have to throw all of these components in and all of that fun stuff. Now, in the meantime, I want to actually work on something else. And that is to get my hearts to their maximum. And that's how I want to end today, because this is a really cool mechanic, and it's from the Baubles mod. And the Bobbly Heart Canisters mod, to be specific. This is actually pretty cool. Now, we should be able to make the item and make the max tier all the way up to the soul canister, I do believe. We should be able to get this quite easily. And we're going to need 10 of these, but it is going to require us to have a soul heart, and we're going to keep this amulet on us. This is going to increase our max hearts dramatically, and I don't know how high. I've seen my bar get all the way into the pink, but I don't know what it does after that. So it's going to be interesting to see how far we can go. Now, I got all of these hearts by farming these guys. So like the dragon can drop the hearts, which I've actually changed that. But like the wither, not wither, the warden, for example, I believe I am farming the hearts off the Warden, which drops, I believe, actually the max tier version. So yeah, we have tons of hearts that we can use for these crafts. So I just need to get all these auto crafts set up because we do need all of these items that you see right here. Now, one thing if I want to craft these that I'm going to need is these wither bones. So yeah, wither skeleton, and boop, I have now wither bones started. Now to make the top tier canisters, we need to put them in like this with a totem. And that is going to make the soul heart canisters. These are the highest tier, by the way. This is just, we have so many hearts. Yeah, I've never set this up before, so I just had to craft all of these while also fighting my furnace to try and allow me to craft them, because this bad boy is on fire right now, like literally on fire, trying its hardest to produce all these resources. It's got to go through like 200,000 items. It's a lot. Now, back to this, because we are making our soul heart crystal, and this should allow me to upgrade the base amulet, which is really cheap to make, into a soul amulet. And then I have all of my canisters. The last I remember, we were able to put 10 inside of this, and that's the max that it holds. Like if you put any more in it, it doesn't hold anymore. So this is now a maxed out heart canister. Can I not open it? Right click to open, just right click. Okay. So yes, this is ready to go. I don't know how many hearts this is going to add. So I guess we should do the math first. So if I look at my statistics and I scroll down and hide all of the changed, and we just look at our current health is at 102. Now we do have some bonuses that are going to help towards our health, but this is going to be ridiculous. Okay, I can only imagine what is going to happen here. So this goes inside of a bauble, the heart bauble canister. This is so overkill. We have blue, pink hearts at this point. Oh my goodness. So we've got to be in the 200s, right? This is 100%. This has got to be in the 200s of health, right? Let's scroll down. Let's see. Where's our health stat? Oh, we're so close. 186 hearts. And I'm sure it can go even higher in this pack. Oh my goodness. Now there is also one other thing I want to try and see what it looks like, and that's the Vitality Blade. The Vitality Blade, we should be able to actually put in the hearts just like this. So out of this, the Vitality Blade also has slots. And so if we put all of the base tier in the Vitality Blade, this thing now goes from 8 all the way to 88 attack damage on the base. So this sword is incredibly powerful. However, I would much prefer to have the hearts because it's just so nice. Man, we're just one healthy boy getting close to having an entire bar that's like in the blue range. Wow, I like that. So guys, with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know it was quite a bit of random stuff, but we have gotten a ton done, and now we can focus on the few things that we're going to need before we ultimately have ourselves access to the All the Mod B, and I am so excited to get that thing up and running. But guys, if you did enjoy, click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it. And so with that axolotl that's back there in the background, that's swimming around. So guys, it's now time to also thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Alkaholic. Gotta love that name. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support over on the Discord and becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Guys, thank you so very much. I hope to see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.